What's up, everybody, and welcome to Tarkov Tips. This is a channel I'm making to hopefully make the game a little easier to get into for new players. The game itself has really no instructions on how to play it, so I decided I would make some videos to hopefully help new players with navigating the game and setting up controls and learning maps and learning how to do quests. There's just so much to it. I mean, traders, flea market. Just as a new player, you have no idea where to start. So hopefully these videos will help you. Today we're going to look at keybinds because that is the core. That's where you start when you start a game. You got to learn the controls. And this game has a lot of them. So many that they're actually button combinations to do certain things. So we're going to go through mine. I'm going to explain why I've set some of them the way I have, and hopefully it will help you with setting up yours. So obviously we have our base keybinds, WASD, to move, and there's leaning in this game. The smooth lean I never really use, but it's like a way to hold a lean without having to hold the button to lean. So I just have that AD with left alt, easy to press, but again, I don't really use it. E and Q, that's your regular leaning. You'll hold those buttons to lean that direction. Some people have theirs set up to where this is Q and this is E, so it's backwards. That way they can hold the button and tap. Like I would hold Q to lean right, and then I could tap D to peek right. But I just lay my finger over those buttons, and it works fine for me like that. But that's something to think about. Walk later down. There's a scroll wheel for like your speed, and that's kind of what I use to increase and decrease my speed. I've never used cap locks to walk. Sprint, I have left control. I think most people use shift. That's just whatever you prefer. This game has vaulting, so I switched my jump to on release, and vault is on a hold. That way, when I initially press space, it won't just immediately jump. If I'm by an obstacle that I want to vault, it will wait to jump for me to release. And when I press it, it's like checking if there's something to vault nearby, and that works pretty good. Crouch shift, again, most people probably have that as control. I just have mine switched. Prone V, that make that a button you can quickly press. A lot of times you're running and you get shot at. The first thing you want to do is lay down. So V is right there for me. It's easy to press. Sidestepping, I never use these. I think that's like to quickly peek around a corner, but I just lean peek most of the time. Blind fire, never used. That would be to, you can like, instead of peeking a corner, you can hold your gun out, but then you can't see where your gun is looking. So I don't think anyone ever uses that. And then yeah, like you can hold your gun above your head and just blindly shoot. Not very useful. The walk pose is like if you're trying to hold an angle or look out a window and the window isn't lining up, the gap isn't lining up with your sights, you can hold shift and scroll, and you'll like slowly kneel or slowly stand up so you can get the perfect angle. That is, I use that a lot. Left shift and then just mouse scroll. That's what I use. It's pretty easy. Shoulder transition, they just added this recently. You can switch what shoulder you're holding your gun on, and that just, it helps with gunfights. Like if you're peeking around a corner from the left, it's better to have your gun on the left side. If you're new to the game, I wouldn't worry about it too much. This is what I was talking about with the walking speed. So like caps lock was to immediately switch to walk. That can be useful, but I don't use it. I just scroll down. If you scroll down, it slows down your walking speed, which makes you quieter in the game. And if you scroll up, it speeds up your walking speed, which increases the amount of noise you make. Mount weapon, they just added this. I've never used it. I think it's probably useful. I have it set as H. Again, never used it. I think you can just like set your gun on a corner or on the top of something and it will save your arm stamina for ADSing, but I haven't really used it much yet. Fire, left mouse click, right mouse click. That's standard. Reload R. So you can have, there's a reload and there's an emergency reload. The regular R press is just you reload, you put your mag in your tack rig, and you put a new mag in. Emergency reload is like slightly quicker than a regular reload. So that's what you want to use if you're in a gunfight and you need to get a mag in quickly. And you just I have mine set to where I just double click it. And that way you'll just drop the mag out of your gun. It will fall on the ground and you put a new mag in. It's a little quicker. It is useful for when you're in a gunfight, but just remember you dropped your mag, so you'll have to go back and pick it up. Fire mode, I have mine set to B, easy to click to. That might be standard as well. And then you can set, this used to be double click B to set it to full auto. I switched that to just checking fire mode because most guns are semi-auto or full auto, so you just click B to switch it anyway. So I just have mine to double click B to check, just to make sure if I'm about to get into a fight, I'm on whatever mode I want to be on. There are a few guns that have burst fire, so that could be useful, but I've never had an issue with it. Check magazine, mouse scroll plus R. I've never used this. Previous magazine, never used this. Detach mag, never used. Check ammo. This check chamber / fix malfunction. This you need to know because your gun will jam, and if you don't know how to check it and fix it, you can't shoot your gun. So mine's just Shift and T. But before you're able to do that, before you're able to fix a malfunction in the game, you need to inspect, which is down here. So that's in. So if your gun jams, you'll need to press in or whatever this button is to inspect your weapon and identify what the malfunction is. And then you'll press the check / fix malfunction keybind to fix whatever the problem is. Unload chamber, never use. I don't know why you'd ever need to unload your chamber in the game. Switch between sights. This is useful. This is like if you have a long range sight and then short range mounted on the side of it or above it, it would be to switch from ADSing through the long range to the short range. Mine is left alt plus right mouse button. Scope magnification, make this an easy to press button. You do this a lot. Mine is my button on the side of my mouse. Yeah, make that something you can press quickly and without affecting your movement and aiming. Scope elevation up and down, I've never used. Not even sure what that does. Scope zoom in and zoom out. This they just added. This is so there's like variable optics in the game that allow you to. They're like 1 to 6x or 1 to 8x or 1 to 4x. And this side button would switch from the 1x to directly to the 6x or whatever it is. But now they added it so you can hold left alt while you're ADSing and scroll, and it'll gradually zoom in. So you get the whole range of the scope zoom. I just have mine left alt and scroll. It's easy when you're ADS'd to do that. In again is for inspecting, easy to press for me. It doesn't need to be a super easily accessible button, but you'll need to do it occasionally. Folding your stock, you typically never do that in a game. Bipod, I've never used. I think that's new as well. You can put bipods on some weapons, and you can mount them to save arm stamina, and it also reduces recoil, I believe. This is just whatever weapon you want out. So you have your would be like your main gun, and this would be your secondary gun. You usually only bring in one gun to a raid, but make those both in case you grab a gun. You want to be able to pull both of those out. I just have 2 and 3, and then I have for my sidearm 1. That's how I do most games. Melee weapon I have is H. You don't ever really need to pull that out. Quick swap would just be double clicking whatever this is. This would be if you run out of ammo and you have a pistol, you just double click that. That's probably quicker than reloading. I don't usually carry a pistol in my raids, so I never use that. Melee attack can be useful if you're in a fight and you're up close and you run out of ammo. Just double click whatever that button is to melee. I rarely use that. Grenade, G, pretty standard. This would be for your, you can put like sights and stuff on your helmets as well as face shields. So that would be to turn on or off your sight as well as to raise or lower your face shield. Don't use that much either. This is VoIPing, like talking to other people. Mine set as P. I usually just leave it on at all times, so I don't really ever press that. Push to talk would be, I have that as T. You just hold this button down to talk to people around you. You want that to be a pretty easy to press button because you're usually trying to fight while talking. So tactical devices, this would be your flashlight or laser on the side of your gun. You want this to be an easy to press button. I have this as well on my mouse. Usually you're swinging someone and pressing this at the same time because you don't want to have your laser on all the time because it gives away your location. So usually you're like swinging a corner and you want to be pressing this while you're swinging. So you want to be able to have all your fingers on your movement buttons and be aiming and press this. So that's why I have it on the mouse. Switch tactical device mode. Some flashlights are like flashlight laser hybrids, so you can switch whether you just want the flashlight on or just want the laser on, or if you want them both on. I have mine as left control plus that side mouse button that I use for turning them on and off. It's just easy to remember. This would be if you have a flashlight on your helmet. Sorry, I think J is just for face shield. Yeah. So this would be like flashlight, turning on a flashlight. I never put a flashlight on my helmet. If I want one, I just put it on the side of my gun. It just makes more sense. Where are we? Helmet. Switching the helmet tactical device mode, that'd be the same as like on the side of your gun. I don't put devices on my helmet ever, so I don't use these. Activation mode, I'm not even sure what that is. I've never used it. Free look, this is used a ton. This is my middle scroll button on my mouse. I just press that down, and then if you look right or left, you'll just turn your head in that direction instead of having to stop. Like if you're running, you can look left and right while running straight. It's super useful. Check time. This will be to check time and exfils in raid. I have mine as O. It's kind of hard to press, but it's not like a crucial. You're not ever pressing that in a fight, so that's fine. Interact is F. This is what you'll use to open doors, search things. You want that to be easy to press because you're pressing it all the time. Discard would be if you're like in your inventory or you're looting someone and you want to drop something, you just hover over that item and you press Z and it'll drop it on the ground. X I have to set my bag. It's easy to press or to drop my bag. It's easy to press, and you're usually doing that like when you enter a fight. It's smart to drop your bag a lot of times because it's reducing your weight and it makes you more agile as well as quieter. Hold breath, just left alt. When you're ADS'd, if you press that, it'll reduce your sway. So if you're trying to take a precise shot, you want to press that before shooting. Phrase menu, that's just like talking in game, like the pre-made phrases the game has. I never use any of this. Inventory tab. Check time and exits. just double clicking 0. So like if you want to check the time, you press it once. If you want to see where the exits are, you press it twice. Simple. Toggle inventory, I have that as tab. You press that all the time. That's how you open up like your inventory and reload your megs or eat food or whatever you need to do. These slots, I never use 5, 6, 7. They're far away, not easy to press. But I have 4 set to the number 4 and on the press. And then I have slot 5 set to 4 on release. That way I can set it in game to where what I usually do is I have a heavy bleed on the press and then I have a heal on the release. So if I get shot and I have a heavy bleed, when I press 4, if there's a heavy bleed, it will use that before healing. That's super useful because you don't want to start healing before healing a heavy bleed because you're losing health as long as you're bleeding. So this works really good to make sure you're always healing that heavy bleed before you start healing. And if you don't have a heavy bleed, then you'll just start healing when you release off 4. So it works great. Screenshot this stuff, not important. I don't use it. That's pretty much the main stuff. I've never messed with any of these too much. Some people do. Some people, like when they enter a building, they'll crank the brightness up. I don't. If you're new to the game, I won't worry about any of that. And to actually set the buttons for your healing, you'll have to go to your inventory and you'll have to hover over your heavy bleed and press down on 4 and then hover over your healing item and release 4. And you'll have to do that every time you go into a raid, but it's worth it. And yeah, that should cover all of the main keybinds that you need. And hopefully this helped. Thank you for watching.